There's something stuck to your fence right now. You've walked past it 100 times. A small, hard lump looks like dried mud or maybe a dead leaf. Most people flick that off without thinking twice. Don't, because the little shell isn't trash and it isn't empty. Something's alive in there. Right now, deep inside, a strange transformation is unfolding, one almost nobody notices inches from where you stand every day. Before we go deeper, I'm curious. Where are you watching from? Drop your country below. Then stay close, because what's hiding here changes how you'll see your whole backyard through a way. So let's get closer to that lump on your fence. Up close, it tells a different story. This thing didn't blow in on the wind. It didn't fall from a tree and get stuck by luck. It was placed there on purpose by something that climbed up your fence and picked that exact spot. Think about that for a second. Out of your whole yard, out of every board and post and leaf, one small creature chose this one. It crawled, it searched, and when it found the right place, it stopped. What happened next is the part almost nobody sees. The creature spun a tiny pad of silk, pressing it hard against the wood. Then it gripped that pad and held on tight, locked, ready. It knew what was coming. It knew it was about to become completely helpless. That's the strange thing about this moment. To change, the creature has to give up everything. It can't run. It can't fight. It can't hide. For days, sometimes weeks, it just hangs there, wrapped in a hard shell, unable to protect itself at all. Would you do that out in the open? On a fence, in plain sight, where any bird could spot you? Probably not. But this creature does it every single time. Here's the twist though, that shell isn't as exposed as it looks. The color, the shape, the way it hangs, all of it works together to fool your eyes. Your brain reads it as junk, a leaf, a clump of dirt, nothing worth a second glance. That's the whole point. Being ignored is how it survives. So when you reach out to flick it off, you're doing exactly what it's trying to avoid. You're the one thing its disguise can't stop. A bird might miss it. A hand won't. That raises a bigger question. Why your fence? Why your yard, out of all the places it could have gone? The answer isn't random. This creature didn't wander in by accident. It ended up near your home because your yard gave it something it needed: food, cover, the right kind of quiet. Which means that little shell isn't just a random lump. It's a sign. A clue about what your backyard really is. Most folks never read that clue. They see mess and wipe it away. Yet mess doesn't choose a spot. Mess doesn't grip on with silk and wait. One small creature did both on purpose. The more you look, the more it stops looking like an accident and starts looking like a decision, a small, quiet choice made right there on your own wood. You're about to see the whole story instead. Because inside that shell, something's happening that sounds almost impossible. It's not resting. It's not sleeping. Whatever's in there is doing something so extreme that scientists still find it hard to believe. And once you know what it is, you'll never look at one of these lumps the same way again. Let's go inside. Inside that shell, the creature isn't sleeping. It isn't slowly growing bigger, the way you might guess. What's happening is far stranger than that, and honestly, it sounds made up until you hear how it works. The creature is dissolving itself. On purpose. It releases special juices that break its own body down from the inside. Muscles, skin, most of what it used to be, all of it turns soft, then liquid. If you could open that shell at the right moment, you wouldn't find a little animal in there. You'd find something closer to soup. Let that sink in for a second. The thing on your fence takes itself apart almost completely and turns into goo. Not because something went wrong, because that's the plan. That's the only way it can become what it's meant to be. Now quick pause, because this next part is where it gets wild, and I don't want you to miss it. If these hidden backyard secrets are the kind of thing you wish more people knew about, do me a favor and hit subscribe. That's it, one tap. It keeps this channel going, and it means the next mystery lands right in your feed. Okay, back to the soup. Here's the question that should be bugging you. If the whole body turns to liquid, what's left to rebuild it? Mush can't grow wings. Goo can't grow legs. Something has to survive the meltdown and carry the plan forward. And something does. Floating in that liquid are tiny clusters of cells that were there the entire time, hidden, waiting. They stayed asleep while the creature lived its first life. Now they wake up. They pull the soup back together, piece by piece, and start building something brand new, a body that looks nothing like the one that crawled up your fence. Think about how bold that is. To become something better, this creature is willing to stop existing as itself first. It risks everything on a full teardown, trusting that a few hidden cells will put it back together right. No backup, no second try. If the rebuild fails, it's over, and it's all going on inside a shell the size of your thumbnail, glued to a fence board while you water the plants 3 feet away. You'd never guess. The outside looks dead still. The inside is doing one of the most extreme things in all of nature. That's why nudging one of these is riskier than it seems. You're not touching a dry husk. You're bumping a body mid-rebuild, at the exact moment it can't defend itself or start over. One rough flick, and the whole quiet miracle stops cold. So what is this creature really? What crawls in as one thing and comes out as another? By now, you've probably got a guess. You're likely right, but not fully, because what's actually forming in there comes with a threat almost nobody warns you about. So here's the truth. That shell on your fence is a chrysalis. And what's rebuilding itself inside is a butterfly. Yeah, the same butterfly you'd stop to admire in a field is sitting on your fence right now. Half-formed, wings folded tight, waiting for the exact moment to break free. It crawled up as a caterpillar. Soon it'll leave with wings. Same creature, 2 completely different lives, one quiet shell in between. But here's the threat I promised you. That chrysalis isn't always safe. And what comes out isn't always a butterfly. Sometimes something else grows in there instead. There are hunters that target these things. Small wasps, certain FLIs. You've walked past them too and never known what they were up to. Long before the shell ever formed, one of them found the caterpillar and slipped an egg inside its body. The caterpillar kept eating, kept crawling, kept climbing your fence to make its chrysalis, with no idea it was already carrying something else. Then, hidden inside that shell, a second story plays out. The intruder's egg hatches. Its larva feeds on the creature while the transformation is still going. And when the shell finally opens, a butterfly doesn't come out. A fly does, or a tiny wasp. The whole miracle gets hijacked from the inside, and nobody watching would ever guess. Sit with that for a second. The shell looks the same either way. From the outside, you can't tell a healthy chrysalis from a hijacked one, not at a glance. Both hang quiet. Each one looks like junk. One holds a butterfly. The other holds the thing that ate it. Usually there's one clue, if you know to look. A parasitized chrysalis often turns dark. Brown patches, almost like rust, spread where the color should be clean. Most people never notice. You will now, and this is exactly why that fence rule matters so much. When you flick one of these off, you don't know which story you're stopping. Maybe you just killed a butterfly hours from flight. You had no way to tell. That's the risk you take every time your hand reaches out. Now flip it around, because here's the strange twist. Those hunters aren't villains. To a gardener, they're allies. The caterpillars they target are often the same ones chewing holes in your plants. So the wasp that hijacked one chrysalis might be saving your whole garden. Nature isn't picking sides here. It's running a balance, right on your fence, without asking you. That's the part that should stay with you. A single shell holds a life, a death, a rescue, and a betrayal all at once, all hidden inches from your back door. You've been walking past this quiet drama for years and calling it a dead leaf. So the real question changes now. It's not just what's inside. The bigger question is why any of this ended up on your fence in the first place and what it says about your yard. So why your fence? Out of every yard on the street, why did it pick yours? The answer says more about your home than you'd think. A chrysalis doesn't show up just anywhere. It shows up where life is already working. For that caterpillar to even reach this stage, a lot had to go right first. There had to be the right plants nearby, the exact leaves its kind can eat. There had to be cover from wind and rain. There had to be enough quiet that nothing crushed it along the way. Your yard gave it all of that. Without you even trying, your little patch of ground quietly became a nursery. Think about what that means. Most people spray, sweep, and scrub their yards until nothing wild can live there. Nothing lands. Nothing stays. But something chose yours, which tells you the soil, the plants, and the balance around your home are healthier than you realized. That shell is a report card, and yours came back good. Here's why it matters beyond one butterfly. The creature inside isn't just pretty. Once it flies, it starts carrying pollen from bloom to bloom. Your flowers, your neighbor's garden, the fruit trees down the block. A single butterfly touches dozens of plants a day, quietly keeping the whole system going. Kill the chrysalis and you don't just lose an insect. You unplug a tiny worker your yard depends on. And it doesn't stop at flowers. The more pollinators your yard feeds, the more it blooms, year after year, and it's not alone. Where one chrysalis hangs, others usually hide close by, tucked under railings, stuck to your siding, clinging to the underside of a leaf you never flip over. Your fence is likely one small stop on a much bigger map. Once you start looking, you'll spot them everywhere. That's the strange gift of knowing. You can't unsee it now. So here's the one rule, and it's simple. Leave it alone. Don't pull it, don't scrape it, don't clean it up. Give it the few weeks it needs, and one morning the shell will crack and something new will crawl out, stretch its wings, and lift off your fence like it was never there. You'll have front row seats to one of nature's oldest tricks if you just let it happen. That's the shift I promised you at the start. You used to see a dead lump on some wood. Now you see a life mid-change, a hidden battle, a signal that your home is more alive than it looks. Same fence, completely different world. One that was always there, just waiting for you to look. And that lump on your fence? It's only the beginning, because your yard is full of these quiet secrets hiding under things you touch every day, waiting for someone finally paying attention. You've started noticing. There's no going back now, which brings us straight to the very next one you've been walking past without a clue. So next time you pass your fence, stop and look twice. What you ignore might be alive. But here's what's worse, some hidden things don't hang in plain sight. They wait underneath. Before you move your garden furniture again, check one thing first. I'll show you next. Don't miss it.